There comes a time in all of our lives when we realize that not everyone will honor us, not everyone will value us, and not everyone will treat us the way we deserve. But here's the truth. Your worth is not determined by the way others see you. It is determined by how you see yourself. I have stood in rooms where my voice was ignored, where my ideas were dismissed, where my very presence seemed invisible. And I had to learn with every ounce of strength I could muster that I was not there to convince anyone of my value. I was there to live it, breathe it, and embody it. So let's talk about how you rise when people try to push you down, how you stand tall when others refuse to recognize your worth. Here are 5 powerful ways to handle people who don't respect you. First, set clear boundaries. Respect begins with you. If you allow people to walk all over your time, your energy, your dreams, they will. But when you stand firm and say, this is who I am, this is what I will accept, and this is what I will not, you teach the world how to treat you. You are not being harsh. You are protecting your spirit. Second, don't chase their approval. One of the most freeing lessons you will ever learn is that you do not need anyone's validation to be whole. The people who refuse to see your light are not your audience. Stop knocking on closed doors and start walking through the ones that are open. Third, respond with calm, not chaos. When disrespect shows up, your greatest power is composure. Do not hand over your peace by reacting in anger. Stand in silence if you must. Speak with clarity if you choose, but never lower yourself to the level of those who refuse to rise. And finally, surround yourself with people who lift you higher. You don't have to stand alone, but you must choose carefully who stands beside you. Align yourself with people who honor your presence, who celebrate your victories, who remind you of your strength when you forget it. Because here's the truth. When someone refuses to respect you, it's not a reflection of your weakness, it's a revelation of their own limitations. Your responsibility is not to shrink, not to bend, not to beg. Your responsibility is to rise, to set the standard, and to live a life so full of dignity and strength that no one can deny it. So I challenge you today, stop giving energy to those who diminish you and start investing it in becoming the person you were always meant to be. Hold your head high, guard your peace fiercely, and walk forward with the unshakable knowing that your value is not up for debate. Stand tall, live free, and never ever forget who you are. When you find yourself in spaces where people overlook you, dismiss you, or fail to treat you with the dignity you deserve, the first thing you must learn to do is set boundaries that are not negotiable. Boundaries are not walls, they are the gates that protect the garden of your spirit. Without them, anybody can walk in, trample over your peace, plant seeds of doubt, and strip away your energy. But when you stand firm and make it known that you have limits, you are not being unkind. You are being powerful. You are declaring to the world that your soul, your time, and your dreams are not open for misuse. When I speak of boundaries, I mean more than just saying no. I mean learning how to carry yourself with an energy that says, I will not allow disrespect into my space. People will test you. They will push against your lines. They will try to convince you that your boundaries are too strong, that you are being too sensitive, that you are asking too much. But the truth is this, people who truly honor you will never be offended by the limits you set. They will respect them because they understand that those boundaries are an act of self-love, not selfishness. You have to be willing to risk disappointing others if it means protecting your peace. That is one of the hardest lessons to learn. Because so many of us are raised to please, to give, to accommodate, to bend until we break. But life has taught me that every time you sacrifice your well-being for the comfort of someone who does not respect you, you are training them to believe that your needs don't matter. And once that belief takes root, it is difficult to undo. You must make the choice early. Do I want to be liked by everyone, or do I want to be respected by myself? Boundaries can look different in different situations. Sometimes it's a quiet refusal to engage in a toxic conversation. Sometimes it's walking away when your value is being diminished. Sometimes it's cutting ties altogether when you realize that certain people will never see you with the eyes of love or respect. And sometimes it's simply standing in silence and letting your absence be louder than your presence in spaces that don't honor you. Setting unshakable boundaries is about more than protecting yourself from harm. It's about preserving the energy you need to grow. Every time you hold firm to your boundaries, you send a message to yourself that you are worthy, that your voice matters, and that your well-being is a priority. And when you believe that deeply, you begin to move differently in the world. You stop begging for seats at tables that were never meant for you. You stop bending your back for people who would never lift a finger for you. You stop over-explaining your worth and start embodying it in every choice you make. And here is the most powerful truth about boundaries. Once you begin to honor them, you attract people who honor them too. Because energy recognizes energy. The people who are meant to walk with you will see the strength in your standards and not try to weaken them. They will value you more because you value yourself first. Valuing your own voice over their approval is one of the most liberating choices you will ever make in life. Too many of us grow up believing that our worth is tied to the acceptance of others. We chase after compliments. We adjust ourselves to fit in. We silence our truth because we are afraid of rejection. But let me tell you this, when you live your life in pursuit of someone else's validation, you hand over the keys to your freedom. You make their opinion more powerful than your own inner knowing. And the tragedy is that no matter how much you give, no matter how much you bend, no matter how much you try to prove yourself to those who refuse to respect you, it will never be enough. You cannot build your identity on shaky ground. If you live for approval, you will die by criticism. One day, someone will clap for you, and the next day, someone else will tear you down. If you are relying on that applause to feel whole, your self-worth will rise and fall like the wind. But when you decide that your voice matters more than their approval, you step into a power that cannot be shaken. You realize that you were not put on this earth to be universally liked. You were put here to live your truth, to walk in your calling, and to stand in your own light, even if others refuse to see it. There's something beautiful that happens when you stop seeking approval. You begin to hear yourself more clearly. You start to trust your instincts, honor your own ideas, and embrace the unique path that was laid out for you. The world doesn't need another copy of someone else. The world needs you fully, unapologetically, courageously. And that means giving yourself permission to speak your truth even when it shakes the room, to take up space even when others wish you'd stay small, and to believe in your vision even when no one else can see it. This doesn't mean you walk through life ignoring feedback or dismissing every opinion. Wisdom means listening but not bowing down. It means knowing how to separate constructive guidance from destructive criticism. It means standing rooted in your truth while being open to growth. That balance is where real confidence is born. And let me tell you this, when you finally stop chasing their approval, you start to live in alignment. Your choices become clearer, your relationships become more honest, and your spirit becomes lighter. You attract people who are drawn to your authenticity, not to the mask you once wore to please others. You stop begging for a seat at tables that question your worth, and instead you build your own table where your voice is the foundation. Because the moment you start valuing your own voice above all else, you discover a freedom that no disrespect, no dismissal, and no denial can ever take away from you. Mastering the power of calm responses is one of the greatest strengths you can ever develop when dealing with people who don't respect you. Disrespect thrives on reaction. It feeds off chaos. It craves your anger. It longs for your frustration. Because the moment you explode, the moment you lose your ground, the focus shifts from their behavior to your reaction. That's why calm is not weakness. It is strategy, it is wisdom, and it is power under control. When someone disrespects you, your instinct might be to fight back, to defend yourself, to demand acknowledgement. But here's the truth. Not every battle deserves your energy. Not every insult deserves your answer. Not every provocation deserves your fire. Calmness is not silence. It is composure. It is the ability to stand tall and say, I will not hand over my peace for your chaos. It's choosing to respond with clarity instead of confusion, with intention instead of impulse. When you practice this, you not only protect your spirit, but you also teach others that your emotions are not theirs to control. They may disrespect you, but they cannot dictate how you carry yourself. Think about it. Storms come and go, winds rise and fall, but a mountain does not move. That is the kind of steadiness you must cultivate in your own life. When someone throws words at you meant to cut you down, breathe deeply before you speak. When someone tries to provoke you into an argument, choose silence that speaks louder than any reply. When someone dismisses your worth, respond not with anger, but with the quiet dignity of someone who knows that their respect is not required for your value to exist. Now, calm does not mean you never address the issue. Calm means you address it with wisdom. It means you pick the right time, the right place, and the right words so that your message carries weight instead of being lost in heated exchange. People remember clarity, they forget chaos. When you speak from a place of composure, your words cut deeper, not because they are harsh, but because they are grounded in truth. And here's the beauty of it. When you learn to master calm, you free yourself. You stop being tossed around by the storms of other people's behavior. You begin to live from the inside out instead of the outside in. You no longer let disrespect define your mood, your day, or your direction. That kind of freedom is priceless. It means you walk through life unshaken. It means you carry a peace that no one can steal. And it means you are no longer controlled by the opinions of those who cannot see your worth. I want you to imagine what your life would feel like if you no longer reacted to every little jab, every little dismissal, every little attempt to pull you down. Imagine how much lighter you would feel if you chose calm instead of conflict. Imagine the power you would embody if your silence became stronger than their noise. That is the gift of composure. That is the strength of calm. When you master this, you do more than protect yourself. You inspire others. People will watch the way you hold yourself, the way you refuse to crumble, the way you remain steady under pressure. And they will realize that true strength is not found in fury, but in grace. Calm is not a weakness you fall back on. It is a crown you wear proudly. It declares to the world that no matter how others treat you, you remain in control of your own spirit.